We're at about 7.5 grand already. You're at 9.5 grand plus VAT, pretty much 11.5, 12 grand. So where's that massive figure coming from? Where is £12,000 plus coming from? Right then, so we've got another transporter video for you. This one is mainly going to be explaining some of the costs involved in replacing the CFCA engine in the T5.1 and T6 vans. We've got a T5.1 on the ramp here and a T6 behind that's already had the conversion done. And the title for this is probably going to be something like, "Who in the right mind is going to spend £13,000 replacing an engine on an 8-year-old van?" So we still get emails pretty much daily regarding the CFCA engine failures and the cost involved to replace them. And we're probably getting 1 or 2 of these in the workshop every month or so. So they're still pretty common for us. And this video is going to highlight pretty much what we do, what's getting changed, and why it's so expensive to do what we're doing. One thing I've noticed, I follow a few other YouTubers and some YouTube channels, and a lot of these channels go over what to look out for and what to avoid when buying camper vans or transporters, but a lot of these channels don't seem to cover the actual in-depth issues, like, for example, your engine changes and what's involved. I see a lot of people on little niggly things like having captain seats and things like that. All these can be replaced for hundreds, whereas a job like this, if you buy the wrong van, you're going to be £10,000 plus deep on repair costs. So, as we said, who is spending this kind of money on these vans and why? Like I said, we've got both ends of the CFCA spectrum here. 2011, so what's that, like 13-year-old van, and 2016, so 8-year-old. Both actually on similar mileage. I've just done MOT history check. I think this one's 94, that one's 92k at the last MOT. So mileage-wise similar. Funnily enough, both in for the same thing. So I think the point behind this video is that a lot of people are that heavily invested in these vans, they don't have much option other than to basically fit a new engine. They've obviously got other options, sell the van when they find out. This guy emailed us beginning of this year, he was using 2 litres of oil every 500 mile. So the van's pretty much buggered as it is. If he tries to sell that without declaring it, it's going to come straight back to him. It's basically, it's going to come back to you. If you sell a van in that state, you're not doing the right thing, it's going to come back to you. I'd like to think a lot of these owners won't do that. I know there probably are some dealers out there that do, and a lot of them have got away with it, I think. But other than repair it, you've not got much choice. The other option is obviously, if you sell it, to buy another van, a newer model. Some of these conversions now, you're getting on for £100,000, and it's not feasible for a lot of the owners. So where's that massive figure coming from? Where is £12,000 plus coming from? So I think if we're being honest, we don't make a massive amount on these conversions, especially when we've got Ruben taking 5 days to do it and Luke taking 7. Why?
I've got it, I'm at this stage, it's not even been a full day. 3 days.
To put it into perspective, the engine from Volkswagen, £4,000 plus VAT. To get the warranty with that engine, you've got to fit a couple of parts that are stipulated by VW. A new lander sensor, that's 200 quid plus VAT. A brand new DPF. That is £2,000 plus a £1,500 surcharge. So if you haven't got a good one to send back, you're 3.5 grand deep on a DPF just to get your warranty on this engine. Turbos, I ain't got a set of turbos here, but if we put a set of new Borg Warner bi-turbo unit with it, we're what, 1,450 quid. we're at about 7.5 grand already. If we say 3 days labour to get this out, stripped, back in, road tested, running on the dyno, fresh oil and filter, call it 3 days, roughly 75 quid an hour, you're at another 1,800 quid in labour. So before you know it, you're at 9.5 grand plus VAT, pretty much 11.5, 12 grand. That's not including clutch and flywheel if it's a manual, or clutch, DSG clutch, DSG flywheel, DSG oil service if it's a DSG like that one was, and the invoice on that one were a little bit more. The need as well. Timing belt and water pump aren't included in that either, are they? You put a new yeah. The engine comes with injectors, but we put a new timing belt and water pump on them as well. So we're already at best part of 12 grand, and that's just to replace the engine. So this van behind us is quite a good example, because this came to us for exactly that work. And when it came to us, it were in pretty bad condition. The engine was down on power, so you can never get a good road test or any sort of really good logs on road. So when the work was complete, we obviously did a little bit of road testing, and then you find further issues. So customers already £12,000 deep, and we're telling them there's another couple of grand's worth of work which needs doing, which is not ideal, but it's something that we didn't potentially foresee until the van's up and running as it should be, and you start to find other little issues. Obviously, this being a DSG 4Motion, there's a bit more to go wrong with it, but I'll just throw it up and ramp now and we can see. So for a 4Motion, it's not in horrendous condition, but as you can see, prop shaft's off it at the moment. Once we got it back up and running up to full power, the both prop bushings were worn, so we're replacing them. While we're doing that, we're also doing the CV joints on the prop shaft, and we're also doing rear drive shafts as well. It's had new rear dampers. It's having front dampers as well, I believe, and this also ended up having 2 new front drive shafts. So with just the components I've mentioned there and the labour, you're getting on to like another £1,000 on the bill. So if you've got a CFCA engine transporter and it's needing the engine doing, you need to ideally get your vehicle up on a ramp like this and have a good look and sort of consider, if I spend £10,000, £11,000 on replacing engine, how much more am I going to have to spend to get it up to spec, and is it worth that level of investment? So this is actually quite a nice example of a transporter, to be honest, for the age. It's got a good quality conversion inside. I've discussed this video with the owner. He's happy to make a video on it, and told me a little bit about it, and at no point is he sort of looking to sell this now. I think he's invested this money into it and he'll probably keep it forever by the sound of things. So as you can see, Ruben's got everything stripped out, engine's dropped, taken all the ancillaries off it. And you can see the level of detail we have to go into when replacing the engine. So there's a lot of little things that soon start adding up. Your drop links are usually seized on, so it's quicker just to cut them off and replace them. And you start looking at everything else, like your engine mount bushings. Are they in good condition? Subframe bushings, all the hardware involved in dropping these. Replacement subframe bolts, I think they're like £9 a bolt, genuine bolt from VW, there's 4 of them. If we are doing that conversion for you, or swap should I say, and you don't want to go all out and fit a brand new genuine turbo, we do have the facilities to fully recondition these in-house. So we've got 2 on the bench here, one of which is off that transporter there. We'd never recommend refitting the original turbo on a vehicle that's having the engine replaced. Obviously, the oil samples from the engine usually far from ideal. There will be some oil contamination, and 9 times out of 10 there's slight damage to the bearings in the turbo. So all you're going to do is put that on the engine when it's performing better than it was previously. Just going to increase the wear rate, and you'll soon have to have a failure. So we'd always recommend either a brand new genuine unit or at least a fully rebuilt, reconditioned unit. Obviously it front ends off at the moment. The always inspect radiators, intercoolers. A lot of the time when we're fitting these, people upgrade at the same time, so you can fit our intercooler upgrade, fit the additional oil cooler to help with oil temps. Again, while we're at it, disc pads are fine on this one. It's a T32. There's no sort of visible leaks or anything from suspension. The other one over there, we ended up fitting new shocks because the dampers were leaking. Right, we'll let Ruben crack on with that. Well, he's only got an hour left today, so it's probably going to be, might be running back end of tomorrow or early Wednesday morning. Then tuners will have it on dyno, running, do a fresh oil change. Hopefully customers should be picking it up by the end of the week. Right then, this is the CFCA transporter. It's all complete now. New engine, new turbos, revision D EGR cooler, so hopefully going forward we've got no problems and it can safely do another couple of 100,000 miles, I'd like to think. This has been running on the dyno. After we run it on the dyno, fresh oil and filter, and then we also carry out plenty of road testing. So it's now ready for the customer to collect. So obviously, if you've got a CFCA engine transporter, you've got high oil consumption, first thing we usually recommend is either an oil sample or a compression test, both of which are relatively cheap in terms of diagnosis. Unfortunately, a lot of the times it does mean you need remedial work, which is very expensive. So drop us an email, get in touch, and we'll see what we can do for you.